Hello, this is Mr. Hornby 83. This is the Mr. Hornby 83 show, and today is me ranking the X-Men movies from worst to best. I've done this with the Batman movies, I've done this with the Batman shows, I've done this with the X-Men show. So let me get that. Also done it with the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise as well. I think I even did it with Halloween as well. Trying to get my camera in focus and get it at the right angle. Okay. So, also, I'm only doing the 6 main X-Men movies. I'm not doing Wolverine movies or, or the Deadpool movies. Jesus Christ. Couldn't think straight. But just because I'm not doing them, I may mention them, but I won't be doing them exactly. So, let's get right into it, and let's start at number 6, the worst X-Men movie ever, X-Men The Last Stand. Now, my biggest issues with this movie is they kill off Cyclops at the beginning. They also kill off Xavier. They also did a thing where Xavier and Magneto go to meet Jean when she's still a girl and all that, which they're going to rehash for X-Men Dark Phoenix. I don't know if it'll be Magneto with Xavier this time, but it will be Xavier probably being the one meeting her just this time. So, another issue I had with this movie, I mean, honestly, with this movie, it gave more action than what the prior two X-Men movies it did, because, X-Men 1 and X-Men 2 United really focused more on the story and then got to the action and all that stuff down the line. But with X-Men The Last Stand, there was a lot of action in it, and a lot went on. Now, all the things they've been building up in the first two movies, they really just ignored and went away from in this movie as well, because, the whole thing was because they want the whole focus to be on the Phoenix, but they also threw in the Cure storyline. They threw in our Angel. Yeah, they threw in Angel. Kept calling Archangel until he's Archangel. He does not become Archangel in this movie, unlike, with X-Men Apocalypse, he does become Archangel. But, honestly, I feel like this movie, also some of these movies I'm rating are not my personal opinions on them. They're just the way they were reviewed and all that stuff and this and that. Some may be my personal opinions, but not all of them. So, then the whole focus turns to Wolverine and Storm. Beast also gets thrown into this with no backstory or nothing. They don't tell what, how long he's been in the office with them. They kind of hint at it, but they don't really explain it. They don't give any flashbacks to him when he was a part of the X-Men at first. It's just like, what is going on? I don't know, but you know how that is. Yeah. So, they try to throw too much at this movie too much too soon in this movie, and I feel like that's why X-Men Last Stand gets the criticism it does. Now, yes, as far as, quality-wise and, action-wise and all that, it is a little better than the first two, but that's not saying too much. The first two are pretty good. Alright, so, next up, honestly, and I flip-flopped it because when I was thinking of this video last night, I flip-flopped this, but I initially had this higher on the list, and the other one that was in its place I'm going to put a little higher. So, next up is the first X-Men movie. Now look, I liked the movie, but it did suffer from a lot of pacing problems. Some of the casting choices they made for that movie weren't too great, you know. I mean, Magneto was good. A lot of people didn't care for Tyler Mane as Sabretooth. And honestly, I feel like Sabretooth had more of the look of Sabretooth than Tyler Mane. And he was actually called Sabretooth. But the main thing about it is Sabretooth comes after Wolverine. And they just totally ignore the history that Wolverine and Sabretooth have. Even though in X-Men Origins Wolverine they explore it a little bit more than, even though they explore it a little bit more than what, you know, the original X-Men movie did. Now, I remember I took my sister, her boyfriend at the time, Tommy Yeager, my friend Stanley, and I think maybe my brother, might have been Stanley's brother. I know I took somebody else with me to see it, but no, I'm sure I took my sister. Because at first she wasn't going to go because, you know, she didn't want to go, but then she decided to go, and I'm like, okay, you can go. But anyway. But, and yeah, I liked the movie, and honestly, I probably would have been putting it higher had it not been for some of the issues I had with it, like with the whole thing with, and then Toad don't really talk too much except for once or twice, and that's because he was played by Ray Parks, who's not that much of a talker, but you know how it is. But yeah, that's why I put this movie where I did. Alright, next up, I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree with this, but X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse, I don't know why it got such bad reviews in 2016. I thought it was a better movie than people gave it credit for. A lot of critics just, you know, did it because they're like, oh, you know, if we review this movie and give it a bad review, no more X-Men movies will be made, and they'll go back to freaking Marvel and Disney. That's what I think a lot of these people were. That's why they were giving it bad reviews. It's really, if that was the case and that was their agenda, that was BS. Because this movie's better than people give it credit for. But then I've heard a lot of critics over the years when they initially criticize something and say it's bad, when they go back and watch it years later, they're like, oh, this is actually better than what I remember. And it really screws things up. Yeah, the reason why I'm looking over far to the side is because my favorite franchise is on Saw 2. And I like Saw 1 and 2. I thought they were two best of the franchise. The rest kind of got, you know, out of control. I'll just say out of control. But anyway, back to what I was saying about, you know, about X-Men Apocalypse. The movie was good. Yeah, the problems I have with it, though, is, and usually the Apocalypse doesn't do too much. Usually he has the Horseman do it. But the Horseman wasn't doing too much either in this movie. I mean, Magneto wasn't doing much. You know, Archangel wasn't doing much. Psylocke, they don't do nothing till the end where they just battle, and, you know, then that's when they do something. Now, the Quicksilver scene was pretty awesome. With the way he, like, saved everybody in the X-Mansion, well, except for Havoc. But it killed off. That made me mad. I didn't want Havoc to be killed off. I liked Havoc from the First Class trilogy. So, well, actually, it's not a trilogy no more because you got Dark Phoenix. That's a part of the First Class stories. So, I don't know why everybody criticized it, and there were some people that gave it good reviews, such as guys like Chris Stuckman and that, which I was pretty glad about. But then again, these are the same critics that gave Halloween 2018 the greatest review ever. Like, oh, this movie was great. It was up there with the first one. It's the second best, you know, Halloween movie aside from the first one. Or, you know, it's better than all the other nonsense sequels that we got afterwards. Blah. So, you know, I'll give you guys my thoughts on Halloween 2018 when Halloween time comes. So, and you know, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. If I did hate it, I don't hate it as much as I hate Resurrection. Really, I hate Resurrection. But, anyway. So, yeah. I don't know why X-Men Apocalypse got such bad reviews. And I think it's really nonsense that it got a lot of bad reviews. Anyway, on to the final three now. The next one I'm going to say is probably one people would have at the best. I don't think it's the best. We'll find out which one I think is the best when I get to it. But X-Men 2, X-Men United. Now look, opening sequence was awesome with Nightcrawler just going in the White House, destroying all the freaking bodyguards, security for the president, and almost killed the president, but then got stopped right at the last second. Well, come to find out, it was all planned by William Stryker to, get, the president out on Stryker's side about mutants and all that. That's the only thing I didn't like about X-Men 2, X-Men United. He gave us Magneto and the Brotherhood in the first one. Sabretooth is absent in this second one. Same with the third one. We don't see Sabretooth again until X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, ridiculous. But anyway, so, especially when the X movies were so focused on Wolverine, you don't get his main nemesis in the whole trilogy, whole original trilogy. Makes no freaking sense to me, seriously. But William Stryker, I didn't care too much for. I felt like, yeah, he was a decent enough villain to, but he wasn't a villain that would cause the Brotherhood and the X-Men to team up, really. I mean, when you have them team up against William Stryker and his forces, it's pretty much diminishing the times where they've had to team up to take on Sinister or Apocalypse. Or the Sentinels, like big threats. And William Stryker, although they've tried to make him like a big threat, he really wasn't a big threat to me. And honestly, I feel like they should have knocked it off. I feel like they should have really gave that slot of a villain to someone else. Like, maybe it was Nimrod. Maybe he was sent back in time to, stir up things so that people will hate mutants and it'll get the Sentinels made. Which, that's one of my biggest problems with Last Stand. They had so many opportunities to go to so many different stages with the X-Men comics and that. Like, you could have went with Sinister in the third movie. You could have went with the Sentinels in the third movie. You could have went with Apocalypse in the third movie. Another thing I want to talk about with X-Men Apocalypse is Oscar Isaacs as, Apocalypse. That's why I didn't put it higher. But Oscar Isaacs is Apocalypse. Felt like he was too short. Now, if they did something where he grew in the final battle and was fighting them, I mean, they still showed that Apocalypse was pretty powerful. But, because he's, in an astral plane fight with Xavier in the mind and still out in reality fighting the X-Men until Jean obliterates him, which I wish they wouldn't have killed Apocalypse. But, honestly, my biggest problem with it was how short he was. I mean, he was pretty short. Now, had they had him grow big outside like he did in the astral planes against Xavier, that would have been awesome. But they didn't do that. Maybe that's why people gave the movie a bad review. But I'm getting off topic with X-Men 2. Yeah, X-Men 2, X-Men United, I just feel like so much, like I said, it took a lot of time pacing and, Xavier with the kooky stuff, Xavier looking like a complete idiot in it, being suckered in by, Stryker's son. And really, Xavier's supposed to be the most powerful psychic in the universe, aside from Jean Grey, and maybe Apocalypse or Sinister. But apparently they're supposed to be psychic too, but But honestly, I feel like, and I know it's, had that storyline at X-Men 2, X-Men United led to something like, somehow Stryker, someone working for Stryker gets the Sentinel program set up. That would have been nice to see, but that wasn't the case. They ended it, they wanted to do the Dark Phoenix thing, whatever. Anyway. Alright, next up, X-Men First Class. This movie was very good. Storytelling perspective, visually, the character building, the freaking action, all that stuff. I really enjoyed X-Men First Class, and I enjoyed it a lot to be the second best among the 6 X-Men movies that are out right now. But I also love the fact that we finally, even though Magneto was still we finally got a new villain. All the other X-Men movies, except for X-Men 2, X-Men United, all the other X movies, the villain was Magneto. And it really gets boring. Honestly, it gets boring seeing Magneto be the head villain in all 3 of the main trilogy. Because he's the one that encourages Jean to kill Xavier. Not only that, he then wants to unleash her on apparently the boy whose blood they used to cure the mutant gene or whatever, which, I wish that would have turned out to be Apocalypse at the end. It could have been like, boom, oh, that's Apocalypse. But, wasn't the case. Really irritating what happened with that. But Sebastian Shaw, even though he still had the Magneto philosophy, I still liked him as the main villain of X-Men First Class. That's the thing I liked about the First Class trilogy. New villains. It wasn't focused on Magneto being the main villain. Because Apocalypse, First Class, and the one I'm getting ready to talk about is going to have different villains. And I was very happy to see the different villains. I got tired of Magneto. Oh, he's the villain. Blah, blah, blah. Because really, you think about it too, Stryker was kind of the sub-villain to Magneto, because Magneto then tells Stryker's son to tell, hey, let me tell you something. Yeah. Make Xavier target all the humans with Cerebro. So, yeah. Ended up being, and that was kind of the case with the next movie I'm about to talk about here, but wasn't as bad as, X-Men first, X-Men 2, X-Men United, like that. So, next up was X-Men Days of Future Past. One, I love seeing the old cast mixed with the new cast. Even though the one that, really the only one that mixed with the old cast was freaking Hugh Jackman as Wolverine mixed with the younger cast. And he mixed with the older cast. And pretty much, I think that's another reason why so many people, gave X-Men Apocalypse a bad review. Because X-Men Apocalypse was built up to be, built up that, because Days of Future Past, with the way they reset everything, reset the timeline, even though they went and squandered it back up. But they reset the timeline, and people's like, oh, now there's no real threat, because, they're going to survive, because you're seeing what happened in the future, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get that, but honestly, look at how many times afterwards at X-Men Comics where they've settled the timeline with X-Men Days of Future Past, that more dangerous threats popped up in comics, and cartoons, and whatever. But, oh, no, we can't do that with the X-Men Apocalypse. And this is why I also claim. This is why I also feel like a lot of these reviewers these days are pretty biased toward Marvel and Disney because of the fact that Marvel and Disney, you know, yes, they've given us some good movies, some good Marvel movies, blah blah blah, but still, some of these people it's so obvious they're biased with Marvel. I can understand it, and I'm a bigger Marvel fan, since the '90s than I was a DC fan. So, I don't know. But, yeah. X-Men Days of Future Past was like a good movie. Yes, it has some plot holes, but a lot of these X-Men movies had a lot of plot holes. Even the ones people think are the absolute best, like First Class and, Days of Future Past and X-Men 2 United. Now, I don't agree about X-Men 2 United, but yeah. All the X-Men movies have plot holes. And honestly, I'm sure Dark Phoenix will leave plot holes. As long as there's an end credit with Mr. Sinister, I don't care. That's the only reason why I want to go see the movie. I want to see if they are going to tease that Mr. Sinister thing. Not an Exes court signal either. It's got to be. It has to be Sinister himself. Sinister himself. Not an X6 Corp logo, not none of other stuff. It has to be Sinister himself if they're going to go forward with Sinister being the main villain in the X movies. But who knows? 2021 is when Marvel Studios can officially do stuff with that product. And Fantastic Four or whatever, You know how that goes. Alright, now it's time for shoutouts. And I got a few shoutouts today. Black Ops Killer. Just did a Mortal Kombat video. Mr. Fox. I don't know if he's done videos lately. I haven't got no notification from his channel or nothing, so I'm guessing he hasn't. Elite Best 3, I know the last one he did was one talking about his lawnmower. I'm gonna do the Solo Monster. He just celebrated his 600th episode of the Solo Monster Sounds Off, and he's one of my favorite wrestling YouTubers. And people might say, well, but you hate the wrestling internet community. Yeah, well, I don't believe he's truly a part of the wrestling internet community, because he's not a freaking hypocrite. What he says is what he feels, and, that's why I like Solo Monster. But, plus, I've found out a lot of wrestling info from his channel over the years that I didn't even know about, and I was a big wrestling fan as a kid. I still am now to this day. That's why Saturday, I can now officially say I am getting all Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. Figured out a way to get it. But, I can't wait to see it. I really wish that freaking guy would have been able to show off that freaking World Championship, the AEW World Championship. I've really been wanting, that's the main thing I've been wanting to see from AEW is what their freaking title is going to look like. And I can't wait to see it. I will have a review of All Elite Wrestling. I might do a Facebook Live Monday. I'll review All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. Also, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 is coming Saturday as well, which I'll probably have to DVR record it because crap, got the hiccups. Because I'll be watching All Elite Wrestling. Unless it ends Unless it ends right before Attack on Titan starts. But I doubt it. What else? So I'll review that on Facebook. I know I just recently did a Facebook Live, and I don't do many Facebook Lives anymore because they deleted my fan page, and I'm still PO'd about that, but God darn it. But so God darn it. I am excited about All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. I will be watching it Saturday. Probably, though, I could flip back and forth, because by the time Attack on Titan comes on, it'll probably be main event anyway. It's probably going to be kind of a long match, so yeah. So yeah. See what the hype's about. And I hope it does good. Because once it goes to TNT, Double or Nothing's good, and it goes on TNT, I'll be more excited to watch it. Especially after what I sat through with SmackDown and Raw this past week. But, I don't know. I'll figure it all out. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with me about the X-Men rankings, the X-Men movie rankings? Do you disagree? If you do, let me know your list and all that below. Also, will you guys be watching Double or Nothing Saturday? Especially all the wrestling fans that have kind of went away from it since, you know, WCW died out. But yeah, let me know in the comments. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see it. Attack on Titan's coming back too. Legion. This is gonna be a great summer, man. It kicks off with Double or Nothing. And then we get Attack on Titan, Season 3, Part 2 finally. And eventually, I guess we're gonna be getting to Part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. But yeah, I don't want this video to be as long as the last one, which was my AEW video. So. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. I missed my favorite part of the song. It was just the freaking ending theme song where it's like... I'll talk more about Saul this Halloween. And I will get to Saul this year. Catch you guys later. Peace out. Ugh.